Good morning to a wet and very rare day 236. Today, apparently this rain's meant to be in for most of the morning, so but one thing I wanted to show you very quickly. I've been down in the basement because my masons did the walls yesterday, but they forgot to reconnect the patio drain, so I've now got a basement full of water. So important to make sure that the water and the gutters and everything are sorted and in place. But also it gives you a good idea at the moment, obviously, where the water will settle. So let me twist around and show you. This is the beach, obviously, we did the other day, so you can see some water sort of settling. But obviously what I am seeing is down here, it's really going to be important for us to get this water, sand, wedge, if you like, sorted here to make sure the water does run away. We're also going to have a look around the side in a minute there as well. Here, we're getting quite a bit of water on the doors, which is absolutely fine. But where the window fitter still hasn't siliconed in, we're getting water coming through in the corners. Nothing major, but obviously it's plasterboard, so we need to make sure we get those sorted sooner rather than later. So they should be nice and secure. So we do get rain most of the time coming from this angle, so it's either east or northeast. So the front windows, none of them been siliconed, and none of these have either. So I don't seem to be getting a great deal of water. But as you can see here, for argument's sake, I'm getting in this corner here, just where it's coming through the door. So we need to make sure we silicone all the way down here on the outside, and we have to silicone all the way down here on the inside as well. If we can get to the outside from the bottom, then great, we'll do that as well. The other thing also is we haven't finished off this lip yet. So we've got to try and work out what we're going to do with this lip. We've got to make sure that we think about that properly, because obviously the water's going to run down the front of the building. So it's probably best off to take a little sort of channel out here and a channel out here and get this filled, and then incentivize it so the water run that way and that way. But that does mean we're going to get staining going down the front of the building on both sides. But at the moment, we're pretty much getting it all over, and it's going there in the middle that you see. And down there it's everywhere. Down here it's pretty much everywhere. So we've got to obviously bear that in mind as well, because that's going to end up turning brown or green or... So yeah, I think we need to make sure we get, you can see the sort of, it comes up and then tails off a little bit. So we've got to try and get more sand up against the front of the house to try and make sure we incentivize the water to run that way. On the patio side, let me just show you what's going on there. On the patio side, obviously the overhang does its job well, which is good. But when it comes to actually the water not coming to the house, we've got a little bit of a failure there, in as much as, obviously, as I said before, the water has always come to this corner because the Rayside who did the concrete have never actually they never had this high enough. So we put the drain in here, if you remember. So we've got a T-junction here, we've got a T-junction in this corner, and we've got a little T-junction there. That's worked quite well. So as you can see, it stopped the water coming. But it wasn't massively hard this morning, but the water's still soaked in there, so I need to get that waterproofed. So it wasn't water going up, it's where I think it's been sinking in. So I'm going to need to get some waterproof on this all the way around, just to make sure that it does its stuff. As you can see, it's dark all the way around where it's absorbed some water. So it's doing its thing. And you'll see what I mean around here. It's still raining. So the water drips down into these, and it comes out that pipe there. So I've reconnected the other pipe, as you can see. That was disconnected. So all of that water that we actually had that comes into here to prevent coming over here, it's just been going straight into the basement because the mason's blocked in the hole there, and rather than blocking the pipe at the bottom like I asked him to, he's forgotten, he's disconnected it and then just left it hanging down there. So I've gone down this morning and we're literally 2 inches of water deep. So again, it's just not overseeing it. The site manager is obviously not on at the moment, so I need to have a word with him this morning just to make sure he gets back on the game, because at the moment you need to manage absolutely everything here. And yesterday I was doing the kitchen, I didn't have time. So as you can see, it's whirling away, so it's doing its thing. It's taking water from the patio and it's dishing it out the back there, which is great. So we've got to think about what we're going to do with that. We were going to potentially take it further out into the garden, so probably put a schedule 40 pipe in there so it's thicker and take it right out to the actual other side of the land where we're incentivizing the water to run to the front. You could connect it into the manhole, but then it's going to go straight into the septic, so that's not ideal. So at the moment I think the best thing to do is to physically try and get the pipe taken right over to the other side of the garden. That's probably the best thing to do. So that's that's what I've got working up to this morning. I got up at 5:30 this morning to have a little bit of a catch up on English work and do a bit of a meditation, and I spend my time upstairs in the basement getting soaking wet. So anyway, the swimming pool's obviously filling up with water, which is lovely, if it was actually a swimming pool. So we're going to have to get that emptied at some stage later on today. Apparently it's until 12 o'clock-ish. I also want to inspect the manholes over here as well, to the pump room and the irrigation. The irrigation is designed to take water from the roof here and come down and fill those holes, which is great, but there's a big hole in the wall on the other side, which the plumber's got one of the guys to put in. So that's got to be lowered, it's got to be connected, and the other wall's got to be sealed up. With regards to the electric room, it's not meant to be taking any water at all. So again, 2 big holes in the wall which need to be filled up and done properly. And I probably need to go to Fiberpool today and buy a new top, because for some unknown reason that one seems to be taking in water. I think it's because the actual tops themselves come with 4 screws. So you actually, after you put the lid down, you screw them down, and there's like a rubber gasket and like a little reveal that sits on the lid, and that pushes down on the gasket and prevents water. But as always, in the last 3, 4, 5 months, we've managed to there's 2 hooks per drain. We've managed to find 2 hooks. The other 4 have gone missing, and every screw relevant to the drain holes themselves is gone. So I would normally just persevere and go and find the screws, but I think also where people have been pulling them out awkwardly, they've snapped off some of the actual little channels as well. So for the pump room, I think what I'm going to do is just going to buy a brand new one today, get that put in, and make sure I keep the screws, or I shoot people that take the hooks and don't return them with the 4 screws in. Other than that, today, if this is going to carry on, there's not a great deal we can do. It's just going to be boggy and muddy, and so I need to get the guys to get plywood down so they're not walking mud everywhere as always. If the rain can hold off, then we can start continuing with the blocks. I need the guys just working on downstairs today. If it means they're going to be here, we've got the annex that needs to be sorted out still. So as you can see, they primed some of the windows yesterday, so they need to be painted grey today. Again, weather dependent. The shower wall looks very sad. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Don't know if it's grey or white, but it's trying to be grey by the looks of it. So we need to decide what we're going to do with that. I think we talked about actually doing it with a smooth trial plastic on the front. So the whole thing is grey on around the sides and around the back. But I think we're actually going to do a white trial plastic on that to try and make sure that it's waterproof and always looks good. So I need to get the masons to do the side door frame and the rear window frame on that building. I need the electrician to come out now and get these electrics sorted out in the front, so I can finally get whatever's there done, so I can get that plastered in and get that painted, because I've got a hole here and a hole here that needs to be sorted. And then I can get that painted. Somebody actually commented on the comments yesterday, why is it this roof isn't the same as this roof? Why is it there's not the same height all the way around? Well, that there is a beam, and it's meant to house a concrete roof going all the way across. Above here, obviously they've got the 5-foot overhang here, but around about here going upwards, there's a beam on the roof. So there's a beam on this roof and there's a beam on that roof, and that's to house a big concrete roof. Now, as you all know, I'm a little bit tired of construction works, and certainly the sight of rebar and concrete makes me shudder. So the thought of putting a concrete roof over here with the expense and the time, whatever else, I just can't be bothered. So we've had the beams sealed in for now, we've had the rebar cut back, and we've had the beams sealed. So at a later date, if we want to do it, then we can literally run over a concrete roof over, we can do a timber roof over, or we can buy one of those vinyl sort of gazebo sort of type affairs. But at the moment, we're not going to be doing that. So yeah, what I might do, now you've actually pointed out to me, I might even actually get the masons to continue that height all the way along just on the front here, so it just looks flush on the front. But initially it was because it was going to literally house the roof, and the roof was going to be higher than the actual, the overhang here. Obviously you've got the overhang of the house, the roof actually came over about a foot higher than the overhang. So that's the reason why it's like that. We've still got conduits hanging up occasionally. So you can see over here, there's a conduit. I think you can see it. I'm pointing completely the wrong way, but on the camera you can see it. Just there's a conduit. So there's still a few electrical and, we'll call it mechanical, but plumbing conduits up on the roofs around that we've got to try and get cut back and sealed as well. A lot of them have got duct tape all over them. So what I really need to do today is get up there, work out what sizes are up there, and go and find some caps and get the caps put on properly. I don't know why they've not done that, but everywhere in here. And again, in England, we have push fits. So if you've got a 15mm pipe, You buy a push fit, you literally just push it down on top, and then it's compressed on. So as soon as there's a pressure of any sort, it locks. But then you can just literally pull the bottom of it, and it comes off. But don't do it here. You literally have to buy the ones that you glue on. So what I need to do is just look at all the 3-inch, 4-inch, 2-inch, 1-inch that are all up there that are either redundant for now or are going to be used in the next 1, 2, 3 months or whatever else, and just buy the actual caps and get the caps glued on. Because at the moment they're just a bit of an eyesore. I mean, we've had them cut back so you can't see a lot of them, but they're still up there and they're not sealed properly. They've just got masking tape on them. And you know, with rain you don't get a lot of drops going through that little hole, but it obviously allows water to go somewhere. So that's one thing I might do today. I need to go and buy all of the new guttering for in here, because this was just patched up temporarily, and the plumber hasn't come back and sorted that. So rather than just moan at the plumber, I'm just going to go and buy it today. I need to go and buy 3 90s, a couple of lengths of 2-inch, and just connect that properly and do it myself. That way it's another job dealt with. And whilst I'm there, I might as well buy the caps and obviously get up there and glue those on. Apart from that, let me have a quick look around from a water point of view. Bear in mind we don't get a lot of water, and just see if there's anything I can show you that is standing out. As you can see, one thing that we have hardly any water this end of the house at all. Let me spin it around. Apart from obviously the concrete not being level and it running back a little bit here, for instance, the overhang literally does exactly what it should be doing. There's no water getting anywhere near the doors, apart from obviously over here where the concrete's bad and it runs back, and a little bit here as well. But again, it's not been great. It's not been heavy. As you can see, we've got water congealing down here, so we do need to try and think about. I mean, I might put a sump down here. I might put a big sump behind these rocks. I might connect it into a pipe that actually goes out to the beach, and just try and put some form of electrical pump that's on some form of float. I mean, as you can see, look, we've saved not had a lot of rain. I mean, look how much water's in the pool already. It doesn't take too long to fill up, that's for sure. The one thing I will do, obviously, once it's actually died off a little bit, is get downstairs and just double check that all the repairs we did to these corners are doing their thing. Because at the moment there's water inside this pump room, and we didn't know if it's coming from the pipes that are here, redundant, waiting to be connected. There's a pipe in here that's designed to go through the floor, along, and then into the pump room, and then regurgitate back into the pool again. There's also a big hole here somewhere that, again, same thing, is designed to receive and reject water. So we weren't too sure if the water was actually coming through those redundant pipes, but I literally got in there and siliconed the hell, and water was still getting in there. So we think it's coming through the weakness in the lid. So again, what we've got to do with the pump room, we've got to replace that lid and make sure that's nice and secure. We've got to put some air vents on the side and the back of that room, again, that can try and reflect water going in. And then we've got to seal up the 2 holes. There's one at the very bottom of the actual the pump room now. They've drilled the water that was actually getting in there. They drilled a hole right at the bottom to let that drain out. So I've got to now patch that up. And they've also bashed a massive hole in the side for some unknown reason. I don't know why, so I've got to patch that up as well. So yeah, I think one thing I am going to do is ban anybody making any more holes. Everybody just says go and grab the actual the Hilti and start bashing holes, and the holes are normally massive. So, and then I'm left with obviously trying to get them patched up and with a weak wall. So I definitely need to do those. That's something I need to do this week. Get the lid, get the ventilation and the covers for the ventilation, and get the holes patched up, and then start talking to the pool man about when we're going to start potentially looking at getting this diamond brighted and connected up. We've got all the machinery, all the pumps, everything we physically need all here. We're just waiting at the moment for the construction dust and noise to stop, so we can actually start looking at getting the pool started. But at the moment there's no point starting the pool and doing anything at all until we're ready to start filling it with water, which we're definitely not ready at this present time. But every day, obviously, when this happens, we have to pump it out. So that's one thing I'm definitely going to have to do at some stage in the next couple of days. Start talking to the pump man, start going through the itinerary of all the things we've got, and start building a plan about when we're going to start the build. Other than that, obviously today I've got to still make some phone calls about these rocks, because the rocks themselves, we still need to get this sorted. So it'd be interesting to see how that's handled the water today as well. Obviously we put that in to try and make sure it can catch water, but we haven't done the other end. I want to say from here onwards we've not actually opened that up, so we need to get in there and get that mud out so the water can flow down, and then we've obviously got to put rocks down there too. So yeah, still plenty to do. The rain is dying a little bit. And as you can see, it's just pouring into that corner, which is not ideal. So we need to get that driven away. So that's one thing we definitely need to do. It's good to see that these have worked. You know, we've not got a great deal of water here. I mean, there's a little puddling, but it's not up against the wall here. It's hardly anything. So they've worked quite well. And just for those that are dialing in, by the way, what we did is we chased around here, and then we put, I'm pretty sure it was a 1-inch pipe, put 1-inch pipe in, and put T-junctions here. So we cut it, put a T-junction in, and then just, you know, did this so the water would flow into the pipe, and then we ran the pipe that way. Put another T-junction in the corner there, and put another T-junction there. So it's designed just to take the water from the patio. So we need to get that out. So yeah, it's just any water that lands up coming down here and making its way to this corner can actually now drain away, whereas before it was just sitting here and soaking up the wall. We did also, as you can see, chase out the very bottom and get right in there and redo that and re-waterproof it. And then obviously the other thing we did was put this drain in, so we literally drilled a hole straight into the basement downstairs, and we've connected a 2-inch pipe. Well, I say connected a 2-inch pipe. There was a 2-inch pipe connected that literally runs all the way along the ceiling and then straight out the other side. That's what we've got to deal with. It's temporarily doing what it needs to do, and unfortunately, as soon as something temporary works, people move on to the next thing. So we just need to get that complete. So I'm going to get that done today. Like I said, I'm going to go and get the 90s. It's just 3 90s. It's coming down from the roof. It's going to be a 90 all the way along to the wall. It's going to be 90 again down, and then a 90 out low. And we'll run it across the floor in the hope that it doesn't get trampled on and crushed. But yeah, you can't run it into the, you shouldn't run it into the septic tank. You know, running a lot of pool patio water straight into a septic tank is just pointless. But it's got to go somewhere, so we need to think about where we're going to put it and how we're going to get it away from the house. So that's something we need to do today. So anyway, it's still only 7:30, so I'll check in a bit later on and give you an update on how things go. Weather dependent, obviously.